Welcome into our overtime segment here at SportsSource.tv. Glad to have you here. We do a little extra. We answer some of your Twitter questions. We discuss some other topics. Joined by former Vol basketball assistant Mark Pankratz, radio host at Sports Radio WNML, Jimmy Hyams right there, host of Sports Talk, and then Mr. Sports Source himself. He's been on more programs, aside from me.
I think so.
I think you've been on more Sports Source. You or Bob Hodge, and I'm going to go you because he goes hunting sometimes.
That's right. And even when I'm not asked to be here, I show up.
He shows up on like Thursday at noon. So, all right. Let's start. First of all, current defensive staff. How does it shake out? Shoop coached safeties at Penn State. Stripling's your D-line guy. Thigpen, Martinez aren't going to move, we don't think. How does this work out?
Maybe like Jancic and just float around and just oversee it. Because Jancic didn't necessarily, to my knowledge, work with one specific group, and he oversaw it. I really like that staff. I think the Thigpen's a really good coach. I think Stripling does a heck of a job with that group. Martinez in the secondary. I think in Shoop's reputation, you've mentioned the numbers before, 5 consecutive years he's had a top 25 defense in the country. I think that's a really good defensive staff.
What do we think happens on offense? In terms of, do Board kind of work with the O-line some this year, kind of worked with the quarterback some this year? Nick Sheridan was your QB guy. Does it stay the same as what you had it last year? And the thing is, Mark Elder got a lot of credit for being the special teams coach, and this isn't just because he left, but the truth is he was the coordinator, but different coaches had different areas of that. Do you think it's going to play out the same way on offense as it looked last year?
I think it's going to be a little bit different, but I'm not sure exactly how, because I'm not sure what you're going to do next year. Is he going to stay at GA for another year? They get paid nothing. If he becomes a quality control coach, which I've heard he might, you can pay them, but they can't be on the field coaches. So I'm going to be interested. I don't think it plays out exactly the same way. Similar, but I'm not sure if it'll be exactly, because I don't know what Sheridan's role is going to be.
And what is Larry Scott's role going to be besides saying tight ends? I mean, is he going to assume the vacancy there and also be over special teams, or do you still split that up? I mean, that was one of the good things about that staff. I mean, you say there's 9 phases to special teams. Like every coach helped with one of those.
Right.
So I mean, I think you're just going to keep kind of sharing the wealth and try not to upset the apple cart unless you just really feel like you need to.
Okay. Before we get to basketball, I'm going to ask another football. What does Shoop's hire, what does the hiring of Bob Shoop do for expectations next year? And I would argue they were kind of 10 wins and an East title anyway. I don't see them going higher. If you're going to go and say, well, now I expect you to go 12-0, I think you're hoping for a miracle there. I don't see that. So I don't know if they're going to jump. Chuck?
I think it raises the championship in terms of the East, like you're saying. I still say 10 wins, but I think from the fans' perspective, we're on our way, baby.
Yeah. Oh, that's 15-0 national champions.
I think the 10 wins is still pretty solid. I think now with Shoop, you might even have more people jumping on that 10-win bandwagon. I don't know that you're having a lot of people going from 10 to 11, but I think the 10 looks a little bit more solid.
I saw one national guy yesterday write that, well, now this just ups the pressure on Butch Jones next year. And I thought, well, what sense does that make? So he decides to go out and upgrade his coaching staff. And his reward for that is, well, now we're really going to want your butt.
Hey, one thing I hit on too from a recruiting standpoint, because you put up during the show all these national media guys tweeting about how great of a hire this is. All these athletes today, they all follow these writers and these media personnel. So if they're talking about how great of a hire it is, I think it's going to even help our uptick in recruiting on the defensive side of the ball.
Well, I'll tell you what, then let's move into that, because the next one is how concerned should people be about the recruiting class? It's non-top 15 right now. You're a month away from signing, a little less. I'm not panicking over the signing class yet. I don't think your grade, your rank is ever going to be spectacular because it's not going to be a huge class. At the same time, I think they'll probably close pretty well, and I don't think there's any question that this hire has created that momentum you usually want going towards signing day. As Mark said, I think from a national standpoint, a lot of people are going to be seeing this, and I think that's going to churn the wheels in the right direction.
I don't think it hurts you with Nigel Warrior, defensive back that Tennessee really likes. I don't think it hurts you with Brown, the defensive tackle out of Georgia. There's a really good defensive tackle out of the Carolinas that Tennessee likes. There are about 3 or 4 key defensive players Tennessee's focused on. You've got a really good defensive coordinator coming in. I don't think that would cause those players to look and say, no, that's not where I want to go because of that hire. I think it encourages it.
Yeah.
And then the others out of the 7 or so that you got left are offensive players. So I don't think it'll hurt the recruiting. In fact, I think it'll help it.
Yeah. First guy that Bob Shute followed on Twitter was Jonathan Congo.
No.
So interesting. Yeah. All right. Let's get to basketball. Tennessee's at Georgia on Wednesday, and then they're at Mississippi State. Tell the folks what they can expect from Georgia and Mississippi State.
Well, Georgia is actually one of the top defensive teams in the country. Going into Saturday, they were the 7th best defensive team off of field goal percentage. So it's going to be an ugly game if we would allow it to, because if we turn the ball over, again, that's going to bleed into easy opportunities for them. Their best player is their interior guy, averages about 17 points a game. I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce his name, but he's also a good rebounder. And then Mississippi State, Mississippi State is one of those teams that I think we all thought would be better than they are. They've got some really good talent. But the thing that excites me about this Tennessee team, they're not going to be outworked. And I think with some of the senior leadership, they're going to be excited about the opportunity to go to the road and beat a good Georgia team. But they've got some chances here. If we play like we did these 2 games this week, we got a chance to win a lot more games than I know Jimmy and I have talked about that we thought we'd win.
All right.
Here's one thing I would wonder. How much more does the pressure build to go get a road win? If you don't get one this week, I don't see it getting a whole lot easier in the SEC. Some of the venues you're going to be playing to get that road win, and you certainly don't want to go through the whole SEC schedule winless on the road.
How real is South Carolina?
Well, who was that? What was the football coach said we are? What our record is? Or what was it?
Bill Parcells.
I mean, yeah, it's hard to argue what it is. They're undefeated. I'm still not sold. They got really good. They're really talented. They got some really good big guys. Regardless, they're much, much better than I think anybody thought they'd be.
Rumors about Kyle Phillips, who was injured the back half of the year. There are rumors that he may take off, look to transfer. I would think the Shoop hire probably smoothed some things over there on his front. Thoughts on the Kyle Phillips stuff? Anybody want to jump
I've heard
on?
it. I don't have anything firm to make me think that's going to go. I think you're right though. I don't know what kind of relationship Shoop might have with Phillips. He probably recruited him, and if he did and they have a good relationship, I would think that would help Phillips stay. I don't know a reason why Phillips would want to leave. He's going to get playing time. He's a really bright prospect. Tennessee likes him a lot. Maybe the injury affected him a little bit about what happened the first year. He may transfer tonight. I don't know. But I think he's going to stay at Tennessee.
Well, and I've seen it from when guys do get injured. When you're playing, man, they love you. They're all about you. They give you all the time. And all of a sudden you get injured. And it's just our human nature. We try not to have it. But our human nature as coaches is, I got to worry about the guys that are producing.
Yeah.
And so they feel like on the outside, they're not in on the conversation when the guys are talking about what happened in practice because I was in rehab. And so they feel like, oh, well, everyone don't like me no more.
They're ignored.
Yeah,
Right.
and plus
And
it's
Great point,
once
Mark.
they get back into playing and they're accounted for, I think they'll feel that love
and
again.
it could be the whole freshman thing. Don't forget about the academic part, too. I mean, you can be having some problems in school. One thing about Coach Shoop that I was told was he did recruit Jalen Reeves-Maben, and when Maben was coming out of Clarksville. And I think that was a tougher decision for Reeves-Maben. So I'm thinking if some of these draft grades aren't quite as high, you could make some projections for these guys coming back, and they could really move up in those rankings a year down the road.
Can
Let's
I follow up
talk-
on the draft?
Yeah, let's follow up on all the draft
Yeah.
rankings for Kamara, for Sutton, and for Reeves-Maben.
I'm hearing Reeves-Maben, and Kamara will be no more than 5th round. And that Sutton, in a lot of NFL eyes, has dropped to 3rd round.
That's the one that surprises me a little bit. I thought he would be 2nd round.
I did too. Mike Detillier, the draft analyst out of New Orleans that we talked to from time to time, had him in the mid to late 2nd. Todd McShay loves him. He's still got him late 1st. But the other folks from NFL people that I've been talking with have dropped him into the 3rd round, which did surprise me. If he's 3rd round, I think he's got to come back, don't you?
I would think so. If you want, I mean, in terms of money, that's if you're looking 1st round to mid 2nd round.
Yes.
I would understand going because you could have injuries, anything else. But if you get below mid 2nd round, you're really cutting it in terms of the the money you're going to earn, and you're locked into that rookie year contract for 4 years. So I think he'd probably be wise to come back. I think they'd all be wise to come back if that's the situation. What about, this is the most important question we're going to handle. You talked to Dave Hart this week. What about the turf at Neyland Stadium?
Oh, that turf. You know, I've got to admit, I did ask him this question, and when I saw him down in Tampa, I said, Dave, do you have my medicine? He said, your medicine? I said, yeah, my medicine. He said, what for? I said, for my field fetish. I need some medicine for my field fetish. He indicated that one of the reasons that Tennessee had so much trouble this past year was they do a lot more camps on it. They utilize it a lot more in the spring, and therefore it wears out. He also mentioned that they didn't have as much area for practice, so they've had on the practice field, so they've gone to Neyland more often. He did say that they've talked to a lot of experts in and around the campus, and he is confident that the field will be in much better shape this year than it was the last few years.
So you need medicine that involves Tennessee's grass. Would that be medical marijuana? Thank you.
Pesticide.
Thank you very much. All right. Thanks to Chuck. Thanks to Jimmy. Thanks to Mark. Thanks to you for watching. We'll catch you next Sunday at 11 a.m. on WATE 6 for the Sports Source.